When I first opened my tattoo shop, I had no clue what I was doing, and I just jumped in head first and figured it out the hard way, like I do with everything. And I just wanted to share today the things that I've learned and the mistakes that I made, and just what I wish I knew from day one. So, if you're thinking about opening a shop, or maybe you own a shop and you just want to figure out how to run it better, this episode is for you. So, like I said, I didn't have any clue what I was doing when I opened the shop. I really thought I was just going to, I really thought I was just going to show up, tattoo, go home, make my own hours, do whatever I wanted. And I really thought that it was just going to be me. I really thought that I didn't want to work with anyone. I said, fuck everybody else. I'm tired of working with people who fucking ruin my environment and just fuck up my good vibes. And I just want to have my own space that nobody can fuck up but me. And looking back, like there's no way I would have just been able to fucking work by myself. I would have gone insane. I need somebody to talk to all day besides my client. Cause like what if your client sucks and then you're just sitting there all day with some sort of fucking energy vampire and no one to break up the no, fuck that. Like I couldn't do it. There's no way. That was very naive of me to think that it was going to go that way. So I basically, yeah, just flung myself under the fire, and I had to learn, I had to like fuck everything up to learn the better way to do it. So I just wanted to take some time to like look back and, see all the things that could have been done way better and things that I could have like could have gone faster had I actually just known these things from the start. So first of all, having an understanding of the different types of shops, which I thought I knew, but I didn't really know. So there's a street shop where you have, usually it's percentage based. Everybody works off a percentage, and you have set hours that the shop is open, and the artists are like required to be there for those hours, whether they're tattooing or not. This is the kind of shop that I worked in for my apprenticeship. So, you would work 12 to 9. It was Tuesday. What the hell did we work? Monday through Saturday, 12 to 9, which is crazy to think about now. But so we would be there all day, every day, whether we're tattooing or not. There was like a lot of days where there was just a ton of downtime. We weren't busy. We were drawing, hanging out, whatever. The cool thing about these shops is like you really get to hang out with and bond with everybody that you work with, and you really, I don't know, like there's just like a certain kind of closeness, or maybe it's just because it was the shop that I apprenticed in that it was like this, but I just feel like it's really easy to form close bonds with those people when you're just like in the thick of it together and just like fighting for your life together. There's usually a lot of times people will be, if they're not percentage based, it'll be their employees. So they get a paycheck too. So it's not 1099. You do walk ins. There's usually a piercer at the shop, and everybody does everything that walks in the door. There's no like picking and choosing. Nobody's like specializing in anything really, and it's a very flash heavy shop. So these, street shops will have, they're the type of shops that have flash everywhere. When you walk in the door, people just come in, they pick something off of the wall, and it's a really good shop for new artists, I think, because it really, it's like it's the, I think, the best way to kind of learn the industry right out the gate. You get a lot of practice by doing these flash pieces. You get to perfect your like technical skills before you move on to doing custom pieces, and it's just like a consistent environment for all of your clients that come in, because they're coming in the same, everybody's there all of the hours. So every time you come in, it's like the same people, the same experience. So then you have your private studio, which is usually it's booth rent, or like everybody just splits the bills, which means if you split the bills, it means that if you have less artists, you have to pay more each. And if you gain artists, you pay less. Everybody kind of works their own hours and come and go whenever they please. I've known a lot of people who work in private studios where they don't really see each other. They kind of like do their own thing. They'll have their own rooms and they don't really interact too much because everybody's on their own schedule doing their own thing. So it's very like, you're very much like on your own, and nobody promotes for you. Nobody, they're not, you're basically just renting the space, and you're your own business, and that's it. The shop doesn't actually do much for you other than provide you the space to work in. Um, there's very little interaction, like I said, between other artists. It's really good for traveling artists, I think, if you're just doing booth rent. So if you travel a bunch, it might be a good option for you if you find like really cheap booth rent. And the downside to that is if you're sick, if you're out of work, if you're not making money, you still got to pay rent. But it's a really inconsistent environment because every client that comes in is not getting the same experience. They're not getting, the same people aren't going to be there. It might not be the same time of day, like whatever. It's going to be kind of different for every client. Then there are shops that are more of like a collaborative environment. So somewhere in between the street shop and the private studio, where artists they make their own schedule, but it's within the same hours that the shop is open. So this is the kind of shop that I have now, where it's, we are open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 7, and people make their appointments within those hours. So we might not all be there every day, but their appointments are always going to be within those hours. So we do work together a lot most of the time. Like we're all together. And I feel like it has more of a group or a team mentality than maybe some of the like private studios or street shops do, because we are all doing like custom pieces here, and we do get a lot of feedback from each other, and we get a lot of input on each other's designs and things like that. And we're always focused on like a collective growth. So everybody is like, we're always pushing each other to do more and learn more. And, if somebody learns something new, we bring it in and share it with everybody else. It's a very like collaborative environment, and I love that. And we also hold each other accountable. If you listen to any of my podcasts, you would know that I'm huge on accountability. So that's something that we all try to hold each other accountable to things. And we're just a really tight knit group. Like we're all friends here. We all hang out. We hang out outside of work. It's kind of hard to not become friends with people that you spend this amount of time with. And it's a very consistent environment for all of our clients. And that's very much on purpose for me, is I want everybody who comes in to have the same exact experience, no matter which artists are getting tattooed by, which day they're getting tattooed on. Like it should be the same experience for them. So for this type of environment, it could be a number of different ways. They could do percentage based, they could do booth rent, they could do percentage with incentives. There's a few different ways to do it. None of this is like, there's no rules here to each of these things, because there's a lot of shops that are going to be kind of in a gray area, but that's basically like the gist of the different types of shops. And I didn't really, like, I understood this, but I didn't, like I thought, I don't know. I don't even know what I thought. I thought I was just going to like fucking come in here and pay rent and leave. And then once I started collecting people, I was like, oh, everybody just does their own thing. And like, we're all contributing to the shop, and it's not really how it is. Like everybody's kind of doing their own thing for themselves. It's pretty rare to find people who are going to be as invested as you are in your shop, and who care as much as you do about your shop. And it was just like a foolish idea that other people were going to care as much as I do. Very naive. Having more artists in their shop. So once I started adding artists, I thought it was just going to be like, oh, we're just going to all chip in and pay for the bills. And that's really not from the shop owner perspective, like how it goes, because like I said, like they're not going to care as much as you do. And you have to be more invested in other people's growth and other people's success than you are your own. I thought it would just be like us working as equals and we're coworkers, and I don't want to be considered a boss because I just want to like hang out with my friends and do tattoos. And it's really just not realistic. So you have to be invested in other people. You have to support them. I learned that I have to really go out of my way to teach and mentor them wherever they need it. If they're asking for it, I'm not like forcing anything on anybody, but and just always allowing space for them to expand and grow into the artist that they want to be in the career that they imagine for themselves. So it has nothing to do with my vision for them or what I want for them or what I want for the shop. A lot of what I do is all about helping them realize what they want and helping them get there. And that has to be more rewarding to me and more fulfilling to me than anything I'm doing, to grow my own career and my business. So once I started pouring into that role, the burdens of owning a shop and running a shop felt way less heavy. And it's just at this point, it's just more rewarding to see them win and focus on them than it is to focus on myself. So another thing that I wish I knew before I started was I wish I knew that I needed to have like a clear picture of what I wanted. To say that my vision was hazy to begin with, um, you know, is an understatement, but I really didn't think too much about it. Like I literally was like, I'm just gonna open a shop. Like fuck it, I could do this. There's so many moving parts and so much more to it that I had not considered. So I never really thought about like what is my big vision for the shop. I mean, I knew what I physically wanted it to look like, and I knew what I wanted it to represent. I wanted it to represent a place that was, you know, welcoming to clients and where people didn't fucking talk like shit to them and talk down to them, and people were just like nice to clients. But beyond that, I didn't really have a plan or a vision. I was just like a tattoo shop. What more do we need to know? But I wish that I had taken the time to like figure out how I wanted it to run and how to get from point A to point B and like how to get to the end result that I wanted from where I was starting. But as it was, I had no plan. I was just kind of winging it. So I created the vision as I went, which works out that way too. Obviously, like I'm here doing it, but I made way more mistakes than was probably necessary. So I wish that I had a mission statement from day one, which is, going along with the vision. It sounds so like corporate and cheesy, and I know people hate that and they hate to hear like corporate type terms in the tattoo industry, and I'm sorry, but there's a reason that companies do this. There's a reason that people have mission statements for their businesses, because like I used to hate the idea of this, but 6 years later now I get it. It makes sense, because how am I supposed to make any kind of decisions in my business if I don't know what the mission is, if I don't know what the entire fucking point of this is? How am I supposed to know what not to do if I don't know what I'm supposed to do? Like, is this making sense to you? Because this was the missing piece for me for so long, and it's the reason that I took so many wrong turns in my career and in my business, and it's the reason that I, it took me so long to get here because it's like not having a map to your destination, just like fucking taking off, like we're doing it, we're going, but no clue which direction or which roads to fucking take. Like it's chaotic. It's fucking unhinged if I'm being honest. But the same goes for company values, along with the mission statement and the vision. These are all kind of like the same things, but they all have different purposes. So again, hated this idea before, but these values became my compass for choosing the right people. And if I don't share the same values with the people that I'm hiring and the people that I'm bringing into my shop, it's never going to fucking work out. And it's not going to work out for them. It's not going to work out for me. I need to know that we value the same things and that we, these core parts of our personality and these core things that are important to us align. I finally just I guess it's been 3 years now, decided what my values are, what my mission statement was, and I stand by them, and they are my fucking, like, they're my North Star, and they decide how everyone behaves and how, like, how we interact with our clients and what is appropriate and how we operate. And it really dictates everything that I do. So there is no question about what fits in here and what doesn't. Knowing what your non-negotiables are is another one. So I guess I had some figured out from the beginning. So like I knew I didn't want anybody who did drugs worked here. It was pretty cut and dry for me. Like but knowing like all the little non-negotiables, like the little things that are just not going to work for me, you know, I would not be able to stand somebody who was just a complete fucking slob or who was cross-contaminating things. Like those are non-negotiables for me. Like you can't work here if you're gonna be fucking unsanitary and touch shit and like, you know, fuck up the space with cooties. You know what I mean? Like I can't do that. But being able to draw like a hard line in the sand and setting an expectation for what's acceptable and what's not, you know, this right here is too far for me. Like, this is not acceptable to me. And you're able to create real boundaries and get a real clear picture for who are the right people and the right artists and employees and clients even too. You know, it really helps you decide those things. And, you know, if you don't have those actual measurements to go by, you're just going off of gut feeling and you're like, I don't feel like this person's good, but I don't know why. And then you can't come to the conclusion that no, they're a no for me because you don't have anything to back it. Like you're just going on a gut feeling, you know something's wrong, but you don't know what it is. But if you have these things like designated and like already predetermined for you, or you know, like this isn't going to work for me, then you can be like, nope, you know, hard no, sorry that I can't work with somebody that's like this. So another thing that I wish I knew, I mean, I guess like I probably could have guessed this one. Like anybody probably would have looked at me and been like, there's no fucking way that you're going to be able to do this. Is if you're not a type A person, if you're not good with paperwork and numbers and like mundane day-to-day tasks and things like that, and you're not hyper organized, like you have to get somebody to help you. You cannot do it yourself. I am 1000% a type B person, but I have had to train myself to be type A, if that makes any sense. I don't know. I can't think of one other person that is type B that has overcome it in the way that I've been able to. I don't think I'm like fully recovered or anything like that, but I made it fucking work and I figured it out, and I had to almost go the complete opposite direction and completely like overcompensate for the way that I naturally am just so I could function. But once I got somebody in a role that could actually handle all this stuff for me, my life got so much easier. And I really thought like I could do this by myself. I don't need any help. Bullshit. Like it was chaos. So yeah, you have to either get somebody in place that can help you and do these things for you, or you have to learn really quick. And I was that learn it real quick person. And by real quick, I mean slow as fuck because I made a lot of mistakes and I should have just asked for help from the beginning. But I was too stubborn because that's just how I am. Another thing that I wish I had was a basic understanding of business in general. Can you have a business and not know anything about business? Clearly you can, because here I am. I did it. And I'm sure there's lots of other people out there who have done it too. And, you know, it's just one of those like jump first, ask questions later kind of situations that was probably not the best plan, was probably not the best decision. But, you know, I struggled the entire way, but if I can figure it out, you know, I dig myself out of the enormous holes that I created, and it could have been avoided if I just like knew a little bit more about business. Fortunately, I found an online program where I was able to basically go to school to learn business and figure these things out. Figuring it out on my own was probably never going to happen. Like there's no way. I mean, maybe in 10 years I would have learned all of this stuff, but if I didn't just like nose to the grindstone and be like, okay, I'm going to step back and fucking learn all of this business shit and then continue on, yeah, it would have been the longest, just fucking hardest road ever. So wish I would have maybe considered learning about business a little bit beforehand, but listening to the people, who've gone before me and know more than I do, they they probably know what they're talking about. I really had this tendency to think that I know more than I know more than you. Well, you can't tell me what to do. I am not you. I do things differently. I would have done it better, whatever delusional fucking thought I had. I really didn't listen to what anyone said. None of the warnings, they were just, I took it as they were talking shit and they were trying to scare me away. But really, I really think that they genuinely were just trying to be like, hey, this is really fucking hard. Are you sure you want to do this? I thought they were just trying to hold me back and like shit all over my dreams. And I was a bit stubborn about it and didn't fucking listen. So I wish that I would have at least like taken into consideration what they were saying as, a real concern and just been more aware and more proactive about some things, especially because I don't want to hear somebody say, I told you so. I also wish that I would have listened and believed people the first time they told me exactly who they were. So I have the habit of giving people just the benefit of the doubt and giving them way too many chances. And it's bitten me in the ass so many times because people always will show their true colors and there will always be signs. But if you're not paying attention and you're not looking for them, you will kind of glaze them over and just be like, oh, it's just, it's just this one situation. Like, it's not going to happen again. Or like, that's not really how they are. But you might even acknowledge it. They do something and you're like, no, I handled it. Like I mentioned it. I handled it. It's fine. They might hide it for a while, but it's going to show back up eventually. And people will always fucking show their true colors. And it's not going to be at first. And it's probably going to be, for me, I've noticed it happens around the 90-day mark. And then you're like, oh, now that we're past the 90-day like trial period, oh, I see you. And especially after you let them go, they 1000% show you their true colors and you're like almost validated in letting them go if you fire them. Sometimes when they quit too, and you're just like, oh, okay. Didn't need to be like that, but all right. And I'm not saying that I don't give people second chances because I do, but I'm just saying like, prove me wrong. Like I see you. I've experienced this now. Like I've had enough of these situations pop up that I know where this is headed and I'm just going to be hyper aware of it now, but prove me wrong. I'm going to give you the chance to prove me wrong. But if you prove me right, goodbye. I'm much faster to see that now. I wish that I wasn't so forgiving in the past. And on that subject, I wish that I would have cut out toxic people immediately. Like it should have been one of my non-negotiables. And it is now, is like, I don't tolerate shit talking. I don't tolerate manipulation, lying, just like general negativity and just like fucking black cloud bullshit. Like I can't handle the bitching and complaining and never having a solution for a problem or never trying to find a solution for a problem. Like I don't want to put up with that bullshit. And I draw a hard line now for like people bringing in their bullshit and being miserable and causing drama and never addressing things in any kind of productive or positive way. Like I'm cutting out that fucking cancer immediately before it spreads to everyone else, because that's what happens is they come in and they start whispering and they're talking about this person or talking about that person and the other people are jumping in on it and they're like, it's become acceptable and now everyone's doing it. And now there's these little like groups of people talking shit around each other's back and it's just no, thank you. Like we address problems directly to each other. I create the space to do that. It's like, if you've got a problem with me, tell me. I can't fix a problem if I don't know it's a problem. And I would do the same for anybody else, Don't bend your business and your goals for anyone else. So unless they truly have a better idea that's in line with what you're creating, don't fucking change what you're doing. Don't fucking don't bend your policies or bend the, bend to their idea of what is better if it's not actually better. And I've made this mistake too many times, and I just wanted to make everybody happy. Like, I just thought that if I could keep everybody happy, everyone will just stay with me forever. And I ended up like changing the rules and changing the way that I do things to accommodate people. And this only leads to problems because if I'm not doing what, if I'm not running the business the way I want to and the way that I, like is my vision, or like what's going to make me happy in my business and make me proud of the business that I built. It's like, why am I fucking doing this? Like, what am I here for? I could just be working for somebody else if I'm going to do it somebody else's way. But, and that's where the mission and the values come in, because you're being asked to change the way that you do something and you focus on something that's going to take your business in the wrong fucking direction. You're only hurting yourself in the long run. And like I said, if it's a better idea, if it's improving things, fine, like that's great. But you have to have that awareness to know when it's not, when it's taking you the wrong direction, when it's taking you off course. Like, I wish that I would have been more aware of that. I wish that I would have built basic systems. And so I literally had no systems when I started. I had no idea like how to build a system. I didn't know there was a reason for it. I didn't think I needed anything like that. Cause like I said, when I started, it was just me. Like, what kind of systems could I possibly need? All of them. I needed all of them, even if it's just me, because that's where shit falls through the cracks, and that's where things get forgotten and left behind. And, you know, I just really thought it can't be that complicated, but it is. It's always that complicated. Until you create processes and systems, and it makes it less complicated. It sounds more complicated, but it actually makes things easier. It makes it less complicated. You know, it can quickly get out of control if you don't fucking have your finger on the pulse. Things start falling through the cracks. You're making mistakes. I was making my life so much harder than it actually needed to be. So if I could go back, the systems that I would start with is, first of all, just organization, just overall organization of clients, like client paperwork, inventory, receipts, important documents, like miscellaneous paperwork, like you name it, keep it organized. Just everything, everything should have a place, and everything in its place, or however they say it. But organization was a huge problem for me in the beginning. I have since gotten that under control, probably to a fault at this point. But inventory and ordering supplies, another one that had to turn into a system, because I never want to be caught. I never want to be caught running out of shit. So I make sure that it's a routine. Every week we take inventory on the same day. We order on the same day. That way everything gets delivered on the same day when we're here. And they're not going to be sitting on the sidewalk for 2 days after we close. Another one is finances. So that can get out of control very quickly. Having a system for how you track your money and your spending, and knowing exactly where you stand at all times, is so, so important. Take it from someone who has been audited in the past. It is not fun. And this is before I had any kind of system. And this is literally the thing that threw me into like, okay, I need a system for this, because you want your shit in order if that ever happens to you, because they want to see everything that you've done and proof of everything. And if you just have a pile of fucking receipts and you're like, it took me, I don't even know how long. I spent weeks putting all of my stuff together and organizing it, and making sure it made sense and it was easy to read and everything was accounted for. And I should have been doing that all along, but now I have a system for it, so that's never going to happen to me again. If they want to audit me, fine, here's all my shit, go for it, go to town. I got it all under control now. Another system that I learned was super important was just having a routine for when you do like boss shit and when you're going to tattoo, because the line there gets very blurred, and it can become a real fucking problem if you don't set aside time to just focus on one or the other. So you plan for half of your time at least I think I've got it down to half now. Half your time doing boss shit, like business owner stuff, focusing on admin and whatever, and then the other half is your tattoo time. And don't forget to factor in drawing time on top of that, because we think that, oh, I'm only tattooing this many hours a week, but you have to take in, especially if you're doing customs, you have to take into consideration how long it takes you to draw that stuff. Some people draw really slow, like me, and you have to factor that into your schedule, or you're going to be so overwhelmed and so swamped. Another way that I would do things differently is I would not invest more into people than they are willing to invest into themselves. It's a mistake that I have made over and over again. I always put myself in this position where I have these like big hopes and dreams for other people that they don't even have for themselves. And, I want more for them than they even want for themselves, and expect more out of them than they're even willing or able to give. And I end up doing everything for them and trying to set them up for success. And I do all of that without even seeing if they're going to meet me like halfway in their effort. And all that's doing is just training them to rely on me and reinforcing the fact that they need me, and that I'm always going to be in this position where I have to help them. And that is really not the position I want to be in. That's not what I signed up for. So it's just like creating more work for yourself in the future. And it's just going to end in failure or disappointment. And your expectations are never going to be met because your expectations were never realistic in the first place. So now I wait and I look for that effort, and I wait to see like what they're going to put into it. And I look for that ambition and the drive. And those are the ones that I get invested in. Those are the ones that I'm going to pour into, and I'm going to actually like try to help them and try and invest in them. Thankfully, I haven't needed this one yet, but get a lawyer. And this has been recommended to me so many times. And this is something that I was like, yeah, I don't need a lawyer yet. And then I've seen several friends who own businesses have real fucking problems where they needed a lawyer. And then it was like, they don't have a lawyer. So just having, like, even if you don't need one right now, just having a connection with somebody so that when you do need one, they're there for you. Like, they're already ready for you. And the same with an accountant. So you can't possibly know everything. You can't possibly do everything on your own. Sure, maybe when you first start out, you don't have to have somebody who is like doing your books like all the time. Like, you can wait till the end of the year, you do your taxes if it's really simple. But once you start getting payroll involved and all these other things, like, you really need to have somebody help you with it, because it's going to get out of control. It's not that expensive, and it's really fucking worth it regardless, just to save you the headache. And I won't get too ranty on this one because I did a whole episode on this already, but getting an assistant, if you want to go back and listen to that episode, or actually I think there's 2 episodes. So episode 17 and episode 22 are about hiring an assistant. And even if it's just part-time, is absolutely life-changing. And it's something that I wish if I would have had an assistant from day one, holy shit, like the things I could have accomplished, the stress and frustrations that I could have avoided if I would have just invested some money into just a part-time assistant. Like, I don't even want to think about it too much because it's going to piss me off, but they can take things off of your plate that anyone else could be doing. Like the bullshit, like job anyone could learn how to do that you shouldn't be doing, because you should be focusing on the things that only you can do. So if you hire an assistant to take these bullshit things off of your plate, it allows you that time to focus on the important stuff, and you'll just go so much further, so much faster. Learning how to hire well. I don't think it's something that I really necessarily could have learned beforehand. I did have some experience with it, having management experience in the past, but it is something that is so important. Like, just hiring is a skill, and no one is naturally good at this except for maybe my husband, who I am starting to think I'm going to have him sit in on an interview, or just like watch a recorded interview with people, because I swear this man is like the best judge of character. Whenever he's like, that one, I don't know about them, he's always right every fucking time. And I hate to admit that, but he has some kind of weird natural talent for reading people. But most of us don't have that. And it takes time and experience to figure this one out. And if you aren't actively trying to learn it, you're destined to make the same hiring mistakes over and over again, because that's exactly what I fucking did. So tips on that, episode 22, are going to walk you through like my whole process of how I hire. And I'm still always learning and improving, and I have definitely come a really long way. But it took a lot of bad hires and mishires and just, a lot of learning over the years to get here. Something that I wish I would have learned faster also is how to give feedback and hold people accountable in a way that is like encouraging. There's a lot to be said about someone who can give feedback and inspire people and like inspire them to make changes or make improvements. And it's not easy. It's really hard to give feedback, and people don't like to hear it, and people don't like to be reminded of what they were supposed to do and didn't. And your delivery has to come from an encouraging place and not from a criticizing one. And that can be learned, but also takes a lot of practice, especially if you do genuinely care and do genuinely want the best for people. This is something that you have to learn, because if you go about feedback in the wrong way, they will shut down and push you out and eventually leave, because no one wants to be told over and over again how they're doing something wrong without feeling the encouragement of and like the support and just the trust that they can do better and that you believe in them. So it's a very delicate balance of being like, hey, this wasn't how I wanted it, do better. Like I struggle with this so hard. Anytime I have to give feedback, I literally have to, it doesn't come natural to me. I just want to be like, you fucked up. Why'd you fuck up? Like I want to be so blunt and rude about it, but I have to really pull myself back and be like, okay, how am I going to say this in a way that is going to be well received, is going to be the best outcome for them, for me, for everybody involved. It's not easy. It does not come naturally to me, but I do think I'm getting better at it. I think that in the past I would either be completely avoidant of it and then blow up on somebody, or I would be too hypercritical, and that's not good either. So it's a balance. So then there's learning how to fire gracefully. This is another one that, this is a hard one. Again, it's practice, and I don't think that you could just go into it knowing it. I wish I could have. I wish I would have just like started off day one having all of this knowledge, but you can't. You can't know it until you do it. So it is by far the hardest part of owning a business, is having to fire people. It is the worst part, hands down, worst part. Firing people sucks. There's no way around it, but it starts with holding people accountable, consistently making them aware of where they're not meeting your expectations. And it shouldn't really come as a surprise to them if you're consistently like letting them know when they're not doing things the way that they were supposed to, and they're not meeting the expectations. And it's not like a hypercritical thing. It's like A, B, and C has to get done every week. If it's not done, like, why didn't it get done? You're bringing it up, you're pointing it out, but not in a critical way, in a way that's like, this isn't, meeting expectations. So there's no emotion in it. It's just facts. You can just point to like this, and this. And the more times that happens over and over again, it's not personal. It still sucks, but somehow I feel like it makes it easier, because it's like they knew this was coming. They knew they were fucking up. They knew that they weren't doing this right, or they, kept missing this mark or whatever it is. And you know that you have been holding them accountable for it and nothing is changing. And so, like I said, it shouldn't be a surprise. And it just makes it easier to take the emotion out. Like, it's not a personal thing. It's not that I don't like you. It's just that I need this done this way. It's not getting done that way. I gotta let you go. Like it just makes it a little bit easier if you can just point to facts instead of being like, this isn't working. Get out. I don't know. I don't even know how I fired people before. But I'm sure it wasn't great. So if you're one of those that I fired, I'm sorry. I guarantee they're not listening to this, but just in case. Um, Understanding weaknesses and limitations. Past me definitely would try to hide from my weaknesses and try to juggle more than I could actually handle. And I was not honest with myself about these things. I wasn't honest with the people around me. And I would try to take on more than I could handle and act like I was fine and I wasn't drowning and that I had it all figured out and I didn't have any weaknesses. And honestly, like no one was buying that. Like they could see straight through that shit. And I had a really hard time saying no. And I had a really hard time saying, I don't know. I can't do that. I don't know how to do that. Or no, I can't add that to my plate. Or no, this isn't something that I can confidently handle right now. Like, I had a really hard time with that because I just wanted to like have this appearance that I had my shit together and that I knew everything and I could handle everything and I was a strong independent woman. Whatever bullshit I was trying to whatever bullshit story I was trying to tell, I I needed to really just be honest where I was like, you know, I'm not good at this thing. I need help. I need someone who can help me with this thing. Or I can't handle more on my plate right now. I need someone who can help me with that. And that's where it starts is acknowledging the weakness and acknowledging the limitations, because the next thing is asking for help, because that's something that I am really bad at still to this day. I think I'm better. She pauses. I think I'm better. I Yeah, I'm definitely better. I'm definitely better at this, but it is really hard for me to ask for help. Um, anybody anybody who's watching my recent story would be like, "You're full of shit," because I just posted something where I was like, "Needs help, won't ask for it." Because I do still struggle with that because I don't want to bother people with my bullshit, and I also there's that part of me that's like, then I gotta teach them how to do it, and it's just gonna be faster for me to do it on my own. And then I get into that like downward spiral of I'll just do it myself. No one can do it like me. But that's not true. And if I just invest the time into teaching somebody how to do it, they could do it as well. It's not like and if I'm rushed or if I have my mind in a million different places and I'm trying to do something, I'm not giving it 100% anyway. So I'm probably not doing it right either. So, like, let me give this to somebody who can at least do an 80%, effort onto it. Like, I'm only doing maybe 50%. Like, let them fuck it up 20%. It's okay. So, that's something that, like, I really still need to get better at, but I have improved some, I swear. So, there's a good chance that there's someone on your crew or in your circle that can help you, and you just have to let them. And when I look back at all the people I had around me in the beginning and all of the ways that they could have helped me and I did not take advantage of that, I kind of want to punch myself right in the face. So let go of the idea that if you don't do it, it's not going to be done right, because it's just not true. Another way to ask for help is just seeking out a mentor, which is easier said than done. It really is hard to find people who have the time to actually invest in you and who want to help you with things and want to teach you things. But if you have that opportunity, if you have that space and you've got their attention, like, ask questions wherever you can, listen to them when they speak, watch what they do, and just take advantage whenever you get the chance, because you're not probably going to get that chance again. And ask for advice from the people that you respect. So they might not give you the time of day, but also they might. every once in a while, like I'll reach out to someone on Instagram that I think is never going to respond to me if I ask them a question. And every once in a while I'm wrong. And every once in a while they do respond and they help me and they're more than willing to help. And it's kind of awesome when you find those people you're like, damn, like this person has no reason to help me. This person has no reason to answer my questions. And they went out of their way to explain all of this to me. I'm fucking latching onto that person until they're sick of me, you know? And, sometimes it means paying for advice. Sometimes it means taking a class or joining a group. Fucking do it. It's so worth it. Like I said, I took that business class online. It was not cheap. It was very expensive, but I fucking jumped on the opportunity and I paid for it and I got as much out of it as I could for as long as I could before I was like, all right, I need to take this information and I'll put it to use. And that's the other thing is like if you're gonna take the time to get advice and seek out a mentor and take a class or whatever, fucking use the information. Don't just sit on it. Like, all right, I learned all this. That's all. You have to actually use it. And lastly, don't take advice from the people that you don't want to be like. I'm sure you've heard other people say this and you probably roll your eyes about it. Yeah, like we get it. Don't take advice from people you don't want to be like. But it happens, I think, in the sneakiest ways. And I think it happens, like it comes from people that you wouldn't expect and from places that you don't even consider in this scenario. So it could be a family member, it could be your spouse, it could be, other people in your industry, it could be your best friends. They got where they are doing the things that they're doing. If you listen to them, you're going to get the life that they have. If that's not what you want, then don't fucking listen to them. A lot of the times, the people that are doubting you are telling you all the reasons that it won't work out, that, all the reasons why you can't do something. They're the people that have never done anything themselves. Their opinions don't fucking matter. They're based on their very narrow scope of what's possible in their own lives, in their own experiences. They're not you, and you don't have to listen to them. I know that kind of contradicts what I said earlier about listening to people who go before you, but that is different. In that scenario, I'm talking about the people that have done the things that you're about to do, and they're telling you what's going to happen and what's wrong and what to look out for. Listen to that. Pay attention to that because they have done those things. They have already been on that path. I'm talking about the people in your lives that never do anything. They never try to do anything outside of their fucking safe little like cozy box. And they're telling you that it's not going to work out and you shouldn't do that. Don't fucking listen to them. They don't know. They don't know what they're fucking talking about. Go talk to the mentors. Go talk to the people who have gone before you. You don't have to listen to them. They're not you. And you don't want to be like them.